Let's recognize the art of gameplay with a showcase of the most anticipated titles here at E3. So, without further ado, let's get back to the games.
Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Yellow.
E3 is about a month away, actually less than a month. I feel like it's really early this year.
Yeah, people are talking about it a lot. I think it's because the media guys are talking about the Judges Week, which is coming up pretty soon. So it feels real close.
Yeah, I think it feels closer than it is. But anyway, because it feels so close, we thought now would just be the great time to throw out some of what our biggest thoughts are about E3, our hopes, what we're interested in, what we're hoping to see, what we want to see, that kind of thing. Not necessarily getting into every minute detail of every game that's going to be shown or every single press conference or the most wild fantasies we have, but just some stuff that we think is going to be there that we're excited to see more of.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to let Doug start this off. We'll kind of do a back and forth here, kind of just talk about maybe 5-10 things that we're interested in, but what is one of the biggest things you're interested in for E3?
Devil May Cry 5.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes. So with Devil May Cry 5, what do you want? Because we don't know really much. There's been some leaked details here or there. It's obviously not new DMC Dante, but
Yeah.
what do you want?
I think Devil May Cry 5 has the opportunity to do some very cool things. I want basically Devil May Cry 5. I want Devil May Cry 4 informed by the good things that were in DMC.
Oh, that's a good way to do that.
Because I think DMC, like when I look back on DMC, the big takeaway from that game, I think, was they actually spent time on level design and making the environments look cool and be interesting. And that was something that was kind of missing from Devil May Cry just in general for a long time. Like DMC 1, I think, was really cool Haunted Castle vibes.
Yeah.
And then everything since then, I don't even remember. Like, I don't have like a cool environment in my head. I have cool boss fights in my head when I think about Devil May Cry, because I really like that series. But since 1, I don't have cool environments in my head until DMC. And that's when they like really blew out like awesome environments, awesome, like pretty fun level design with the warping and stuff like that. And I was like, if they can take that sort of information and then apply it to like the Devil May Cry 4, you're gonna have yourself a good game.
Yeah, and I think we're both on the same side of the DMC argument where I think we both enjoyed that game, which I know is not always the most popular opinion, but I do think that game had some great things going for it. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they fit this back into Devil May Cry 4, because I mean that game came out like 10 years ago. It's been a
Something
long
like
time.
that. Yeah.
Since you've got one of these mainline Devil May Cry games. So I think just seeing where that fits and where they decide to go, like, is this an older Dante? Are we just picking up the second 4 is done? Or I don't even, was 4 the last chronologically? I don't even remember how the chronologically goes.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. And I'm actually kind of interested. Like, I do like that Sparta Brothers timeline stuff. Like, I actually kind of enjoy the Devil May Cry storyline. Like, I want Virgil to be like, Nero, you are my son. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's like known, but I just want that moment. I want that moment. He's like, I can't be your son. We need to fight about it. Like, I need that.
Yeah, and I think that's always the weird part with this, and I think especially coming on the heels of God of War, where it's like, okay, we kind of completely reset everything. We alluded to past things.
Yeah.
If Devil May Cry 5 is picking up after a 10-year-old game, there's a lot of people are going to be left behind, and that concerns me a little bit from a perspective of like, will the game that I want to be made get made, just because it's hard to sell that.
Yeah, I mean, do you care about that Sparta stuff, like that kind of like? No, not at all. Okay.
As you were saying that, I was going like, okay, crap. Who was who? What was? I just remember, like, again, Devil May Cry is one of those games where just in my head, it's so much fun to play, and there's so much cool stuff going on it all the time, and I have a vague idea of what the story is, and that's about where I'm at with that.
Oh, okay.
So I personally could care less, like, in terms of specific story details. I think it'll be interesting just to see what I remember, but I think that's a hard sell on a game to go like, oh yeah, we're going to put like AAA budget money, or well, Capcom's equivalent of that,
Double A bit
into this game that we're banking on people who played this game 10 years ago to be all the majority of our sales. So
true.
That's kind of my curious point with that, is just what is this thing going to be? But yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, no question about that this game's gonna be great. That's out of the question. It's just more of the like details around it. So, I guess one of the ones I'm interested in, and I'm really curious to see how this goes now that Sony just a couple days ago, or maybe yesterday, for when we're recording this, announced that they're pretty much just focused on like 3 or 4 games for E3
Yeah.
this year, and one of them is Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah.
which I'm just excited to see what this is
Hmm.
more than anything, and I really am just excited to see what does it look like. Is it similar to Infamous? Is it something new? Or is it, more in line with that close tight God of War, Dark Souls type action game? Like, what is this game really going to look like?
I mean, what is the game that you want? Like when you see Ghost of Tsushima, like what do you want?
Having just finished God of War last week, I want God of War but faster with Japan stuff. I want
Because I think you're getting a much more open experience of that. Because I think you're getting Assassin's Creed with Bloodborne combat.
see
content.
and that's my hesitation, because I very much could see it going in that Bloodborne direction, which makes me nervous because that's not my thing. But I'm just looking at Sucker Punch's history.
Yeah.
Infamous is a very quick game. Going back to
Yeah.
Sly Cooper, those are fairly quick games in terms of combat and the pacing that they go at. So just in my mind, it's like, okay, I'm getting this, like, the studio's history is more around this quick combat,
Mhm.
not this slow, drawn out Bloodborne style thing that drives me crazy. So I'm hoping they lean that direction. I'm assuming it's gonna at least push towards that, just because that's the trend in gaming right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just curious to see where they go with it. But honestly, if I could get something similar in combat to God of War, but I've got
Yeah.
like a samurai sword, and that would speed up the combat a little bit more.
Mhm.
More like, to avoid spoilers for God of War, the latter combat. Once something like that happens to the combat, like more that style combat where it's quicker, it's God of War is great because you kind of you can think through each move, but I do like more of that arcade style action, more of
Button
just, okay, I can do some
mashiness.
button mashing, but there's
Yeah.
still some thought to it. So that's really what I'm looking for that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited to see it. That's just one of those ones that I know is going to be there. I know it's going to be really cool to see. So I know another thing that you're interested about, and I think talking about the Bloodborne aspects of Ghost of Tsushima and coming into this is Shadows Die Twice. Whatever
Yeah.
that little tease we got at the Game Awards was. What are you hoping for? What are your thoughts on that? I don't even know if we talked about that when it was announced, released, shown, whatever.
Yeah, because there's not honestly like what I'm thinking about. Just like, there's nothing really to talk about. It's just the next From Software game. It's either going to be Dark Souls ish or it's not. Um, I'm just kind of excited because I think From Software is just kind of like a weird, to use techie words, is disruptive. Because I think like they made Dark Souls that kind of came out of nowhere, and it's like, oh shit, now we should like look at Dark Souls and kind of like, and that's kind of God of War is sort of informed by Dark Souls. A
Yeah.
lot of recent games are sort of informed by Dark Souls. So I'm curious now that they're sort of saying like, hey, we're moving away, we're sort of abandoning that. Like, what's the next thing that like, okay, let's rethink these genres? Because I think that's gonna be the next one when everybody's kind of looking at that game as like, okay, where do games go from here? From Software, like, what's the next?
Yeah, you were the last studio to really push games in kind of a new direction, so to speak, or like
Yeah.
really, you were the last one to kind of set the trend for gaming. So where do you go next? Where are you going to take us next? Are you going to continue mastering that trend, or are you going to introduce something new and something that's going to revolutionize action games again? What are you going to
Yeah.
do with this? And I think that is an interesting thing. I guess I didn't even think about it from that perspective, just because I don't like From Software games.
Yeah, but it's funny because I think you were talking before that you really do like the God of War combat, which is informed by Dark Souls. Like
Yes.
I think Dark Souls, I think they have a good way of mixing it up gameplay wise. I think they actually do struggle in other areas they're kind of like normally praised for, like story and stuff. Like that's not their thing. But I think they are very well informed of like, hey, this is a cool way to take directions in gameplay that you can then be inspired from. It's like I think that even if you don't like Dark Souls, I think it's a good stepping off point. So like I'm hoping that if God of War was a good stepping off point for like story in an action game, then but in Dark Souls or whatever the next From Software game can be, it's like, okay, here's the next step for gameplay wise that we can start looking at. I always think they do that next stepping stone sort of game that people can like look to. So I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm actually hoping it's not necessarily. I mean, I would love Bloodborne 2 and pre-order just as quick as anybody else. But I'm hoping it is that sort of like next stepping stone of like, hey, here's another way to look at whatever genre it is, because it could be a mech game, it could be a stealth Tenchu game, it could be anything really. I think it's just like good. They have a good way of like taking a genre and then like looking at it in a new perspective. So that's what I'm more excited for than anything. Kind of like looking at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with almost all these games that we're looking for with E3 is they all come from teams with history.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah,
can see
exactly.
the history is there, and you know whatever this thing is, it's not going to be bad based on, especially from software. I mean, they've got 20 years at least of history when you go back to some of their games. So
Yeah.
yeah. Moving away from that a little bit, one of the things that I'm most interested about, and I don't know what we're going to see because this is my most interesting thing and curious about thing every single E3 for like the past 4 or 5 years, is
Yeah.
how about more Star Wars? I One of the best points in time for gaming was the PS2 era when there were like 3 Star Wars games a year, and I bought every last
Oh
one
yeah, it
of
was
those
great. It
things.
was
It
a
was
great time
so
for
good.
crap.
And yeah, I think, I think that whole visceral Star Wars thing with all the stuff they did there and kind of hitting the reset button on that,
Yeah.
that's kind of out of my mind now. But having that Respawn game being hinted at a little bit more, I think there was something came out that they're a little bit further along than you might think they were. So
Yeah.
just thinking maybe we get that teaser trailer for that. Maybe we see something from that, because yeah, I need something more than Battlefront from Star Wars, and I've been waiting a long time at this point.
Yeah, to me, that Respawn Star Wars game is I'm never getting Titanfall 3, and this is gonna be just whatever that could have been. So I'll take it.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about that. I want to see something cool. I just want to see something cool with Star Wars, whether it's Respawn, whether they do show maybe Visceral's just transitioning some of their assets and everything, so that's more of a quick turnaround than what we're thinking. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see something cool from Star Wars. I don't care
So
what.
are you? So I guess from that game, do you want? I mean, do you want Jedi stuff? Do you want like bounty hunter stuff? Do you
From
want?
Respawn?
Huh?
From Respawn?
Yeah, yeah. Like what is that? What is that Respawn game to you? Like what does it look
Just
like?
I'm thinking something more along the lines of like Republic Commando.
Oh, cool.
Because obviously Respawn, that's first person shooter. Like I really want them to stick with what they do really well,
Yeah.
and that team has made some just fantastic first person shooters over the years. So I think just having a really well done first person shooter in the Star Wars universe, whether it follows like a Republic Commando, I'd prefer not Clone Wars, but I think that era has been done to death. So whether that's something in the current Star Wars or the classic trilogy or just some complete offshoot, that's fine with me. I just want something first person shootery. I mean, I could see Bounty Hunter, something on that lines, but I think with this being EA's first major Star Wars game,
Yeah.
outside of like Battlefront's just, hey, we got some guys and they're just throwing them all in an area and go shoot each other, and actually trying to conceive a story around this and do all that stuff, I really want something unique and
Okay.
much more detached from some of those things. So whatever that is, I'm fine with. If it goes the Bounty Hunter route, that'd be cool. Although the Jango Fett one's not great. I actually just played that like a year or two ago. So
Well, I was like, what I was like expecting, like, are you expecting Jedi Outcast, or do you like you
no,
said, you want something more Republic Commando than Jedi Outcast?
yeah, I mean Jedi Outcasts are fine. I think lightsaber combat always makes me nervous.
Always, yeah.
So I think that's one of those things that I as much as I hate to say this, I want this to be safe.
Interesting. Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't. This is the first in my mind. Like I'm not counting Battlefront. This is the first major Star Wars game in who knows how long.
Yeah.
I want it to be something safe, but really, really well made. I don't need it to be like this year-defining game, this game of the year game.
Yeah.
I just need that really solid 8, 9 out of 10 Star Wars
8.5
game.
and a good 8.5.
That's what I want. An 8.5 I feel like is that good range for this game where it's, you know what? This is a great game. It was very safe. It was hard to screw up. Because it's hard to screw up, there's not much we can give it for being unique, but it's a damn good game at what it is, and that's what I want from my Star Wars game. Which sounds really like negative, but it's more just out of concern and just how much I love Star Wars that I don't want to see here and go like, oh yeah, this new game you're gonna play as Poe and Finn and Rey, and you're gonna try and do all three, and we're gonna mix the combat back and forth between all three, and you're gonna have a lightsaber, and then you're gonna have a gun, and then you're gonna be in a spaceship. It's like just first person shooter. maybe there's some cool level. The last scene is you get a lightsaber, and the very last scene is you get a lightsaber, and then the whatever the name of it 2 pops up, and then we can put the lightsaber and go crazy.
Yeah. Have a good like teaser for the next game as opposed to it being this. I can totally feel it because I feel like with like every Star Wars, especially with the Battlefront, it's like it's great and there's this huge but afterwards.
Yeah, and I don't want that. That's what I don't want. I don't want the like, yeah, it's fun, but the story doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's got this cool Star Wars story, but man, does it suck to play. Like, I just want that 8.5. The story's pretty good. The gameplay's pretty good.
Everything's pretty good.
Doesn't do anything to revolutionize the world. Doesn't screw anything up majorly. Give me an 8.5.
I love that perspective. I always think 8.5 is the best one. Like that's like even within 2 to me is like the best 8.5.
Yeah, yep. So a game that I don't think is going to be anywhere near an 8.5 that I know you're super pumped about, and we have very differing opinions on this game at the current moment. Is Death Stranding.
Yeah,
I know you are pumped for this.
No, because it's like definitely not going to talk about this one too much at all.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to see gameplay. Like that's it. They're going to finally say it's like, oh, the strands of different players. It's like no more bullshit. I mean, I love the bullshit, but
yeah, I hate the bullshit. That's why I don't care about this game at the moment. I hate the bullshit.
but here to me, it's like, okay, you did some very cool trailers. You did cool trailers. You've been talking a lot about this game. I think it's fine. I think this is the put up or shut up. Like this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're gonna put up. I think they are. I think this is that's all I'm gonna say about it. Like I think this is the time. Like okay, no more bullshit. I love that stuff, but no more short films. No more cool short films. Just gameplay. Just do it. Like this is the time where you have a character staying. They have a little 3 seconds of a character like looking around like what is this, and then somebody picks up a controller, and then that's it. Then and that's all we do. Just gameplay.
Yes, please. And I think that's that put up or shut up. I think is what I wanted last year, and they didn't. No. So I went, all right, fine, just shut up till you're gonna show me something. So I'm hoping we see something cool here.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, but you're more the Nintendo guy, so I think that's actually kind of interesting. Like, we haven't talked about Nintendo at all. I think that's more your bag is Nintendo stuff because I'm new-ish to Nintendo, but you're kind of like always been there.
That's kind of the last 2 things on my list personally are Nintendo and Microsoft, and I just want to see stuff. Nintendo, Nintendo specifically, like I want, this year compared to last year, you've got Smash, and that's it. And that feels very much like Wii U Nintendo, which I feel like they're really trying to step out of that. So I feel like this is going to be the time where hopefully we got Smash and I want to know what that and is. So I feel like there has to be an and with the momentum the Switch has. Yeah. The things that are out there that we don't know about, there's some big things out there that we don't know about that we know have been worked on for some length of time now. Whether or not those are ready to go this year or next year, we don't know yet. But there's that and because Yoshi not gonna get us through this year. Another Kirby Star Allies is not the and I'm looking for. So whether it's we see some progress from Metroid Prime, whether it's gameplay or even just a real trailer more so than a logo, or whether it is that we see this Pokemon that I feel like there's different reports every single couple weeks about whether this is coming this year or next year, or whether they haven't even started on it, or whether it's just a version of something, whatever that Pokemon thing is that's going to be on Switch, or whether it's whatever Retro's working on who haven't done anything in forever. I want that and at this point I'm not even super concerned about what it is because I love Nintendo and there's very few franchises Nintendo could throw out and I'd be like, that's the one. I mean, I guess there is, but it's Yoshi and Kirby, which aren't the end to me. So it's just I want to know what that next thing is. I want to know you have to have something more than Smash, and I'm excited about Smash, but I want that other thing because I need something more.
What is the other and to you? Like, what is the perfect and to you? Because like I have an idea of what I think. I think Retro is going to be Nintendo's Uncharted.
Oh yeah, I think Retro is. I think Nintendo pretty much just told Retro to go wild. And I think that's why we haven't seen anything because I feel like it's something they can't tease. You can't tease something new. You can't really tease a new IP. And I think with Nintendo, I think if they did try to do something more in the vein of a Sony first party game, I feel like a tease of that is just going to get laughed off the stage. We've seen Nintendo try and get away from their classic franchises before and try some, look at this. And I think that's just going to get laughed off the stage. So I think with retro, I think it would be really, really cool. And I think this is probably well outside the realm of possibility if they were doing something on the scale of an Uncharted, on the scale of a God of War, obviously shrunk down to be Switch sized. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be really, really cool if they were doing something like that. And what that might be, I have no clue. And I love that. And I want it to stay that way. I don't want to even like guess at it because that to me limits it. And I think that would be really cool. That's whatever they're doing is the perfect. And Metroid Prime is obviously a huge one, but even if retro came out and retro was doing like Kid Icarus or whatever, just throwing that name retro on there is enough of an and for me, just with their history, to make me go, cool, we got Smash and that.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because Smash, they've sort of said like, oh, we're going to do a tournament for it, which is like, it's definitely going to be like a big game there. Like, okay, everybody's going to be talking. There's going to be a lot of, that's one of those ones like there's going to be a lot of lengthy previews about it, but it's not going to be the shocking thing.
Yeah, that's your treehouse. Smash is your treehouse, and we need that direct thing. What's that thing that's coming up in the direct?
Yeah, and it's, man, every time they do a direct nowadays, I feel it's like a lot of sevens, just a lot of sevens, 1 8, and like a 10.
But whatever that 10 is, whatever that perfect game in there is just that tease. It's that Metroid Prime 4 logo. It's we have the creator of the head of Pokemon Company just talking about Pokemon. And I think we just need that next, like, here's the push. That next thing, like the Smash trailer. We're just at the end of their E3 thing. Retro's logo pops up. There's a 3-minute trailer for something. Yeah. We're done. Let's talk about Smash for the next 12 hours on Treehouse.
Yeah. No, I can definitely get that. I just need to know what their next Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild is, because that's the only 2 games I've really got into.
Yeah.
And I need that next one.
And I think that's where a lot of people are with Switch. I think a lot of people are in that. Okay, I've got Mario Kart, I've got Odyssey, I've got Breath of the Wild. Smash comes out in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
But yeah, the only other thing that I can really think of that I'm curious about is just Xbox in general. They need stuff. I'm not really interested, but I need stuff. Like, I have my Xbox One sitting there.
I forgot you had one. I forgot you had an Xbox One.
I could not tell you the last time I turned it on. Could not tell you. I bought it. I played Halo 5. I played Gears 4. I played the collections for Gears and Halo. I played Sunset Overdrive. There it sits.
Yeah, I think Microsoft is never. I think they're never going to have a big announcement again. I don't think they're not never, but I just don't think they're. I don't think they're in the business of doing. Look at that awesome Xbox game. I think they built themselves as the best place to play third-party games.
Yep.
I don't know. I never quite figured out Xbox. I think they just want to be the best place to play everything else.
Yeah.
And Sony will always be the best place to play Sony games, but they're no longer the best place to play other games. That's Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so I think Xbox always has really big third-party announcements. Actually, that's
where you'll see your Call of Duties. That's where you'll see some blowout for Tomb Raider. That's where you see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they have studios, and there's stuff that they're working on. Like, Halo 6 is coming, which Halo 1 through 4 are some of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
And then Halo 5 exists. So, I mean, even that, like, at this point, I feel like Halo's to the point where I will go, oh man, I can't wait. I will play that day one. But even that's not like an announcement on the level of, one of Sony's big games at this point, just because Halo 5 wasn't that great. Gears 4 isn't that far removed where when we see Gears 5, we're going to be blown away unless they do something really radical with it. And Crackdown 3 at this point is a myth. So I don't know. I'm just curious to see because they've got to have something. I don't think they're going to have new hardware yet with the X just coming out last year. So there's going to be something there.
It's going to be to me, it's just going to be a servicey thing. Whatever the next thing is. It's going to be to me, that'd be where the Anthem blowout would be, right?
Yeah. That's where Anthem's going to show up.
Yeah. Yep. I'm very excited for Anthem, by the way.
I'm not.
Oh man. Oh shit. Actually, I was going to talk about Rage 2 as maybe as a closer thing. Cause that's the follow-up from the Doom guys.
Yeah. But Rage 2 is one of those things where it's like, I played and loved Rage. I cannot tell you a thing about Rage at this point.
It's Rage 2. The only thing to be excited about is the follow. It's if that's the follow up from the guys who did Doom.
Yeah,
that's all it is in my head. But actually, Anthem. I completely forgot how excited I am about Anthem. I love Destiny, And if somebody just takes Destiny's formula and does it better, because there's a huge opportunity to do Destiny's formula but do it better.
Yep.
And if that's Anthem, like that to me will probably be that's actually, now I'm thinking about that, actually might be my most excited game for at E3 is actually Anthem.
Oof.
Because I really love Destiny, even though it does a lot of things I hate.
Yeah.
Not hate. I think it does a lot of things. I love how integrated the drop in, drop out of Destiny is. And I think that formula is just such a simple drop in, drop out. Kind of take things from MMOs, kind of take things from. They have a lot of like really nice accessibility stuff that I really like too. Of just like, this gun is better than this gun. There, that's it. That's all you need to know. And that's great. I like that. I just like how simple it is. It's not. I was trying to play Borderlands 2 recently for the first time. It's like there's too many stats here. I don't know if this gun is better than this gun, but Destiny just straight up tells you. It's like
this is a 187. This is a 184. Use the 187.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny because just that simpleness though of it makes it to me really fun. Just knowing like the thing I just got is better than the thing I have in my hand. But I like that. I love how centered that game is around co-op. And just to see another game in that genre of that drop in, drop out co-op, everything around this game is this sort of communal thing where you're interacting with players and other people. Like I really love that. And I think if Anthem does Destiny just does it better, that's going to be a really, really, really awesome game. I think people are sort of not talking about that one too. I think it's sort of like murmured about because we don't know a lot about it. That game, I think, is going to blow people away. I think that's going to be the game that everybody goes, "Did you see Anthem?"
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it doing that because I think that is when we were talking about safe with Star Wars games. I think that's one of those games where everything about that says this is minimum an 8. This is minimum an 8.5.
Yeah,
this game is going to come out with that, and it has the potential to be even better than that. There's very little chance that game disappoints, and that game has a tremendous potential to be something really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't think it needs to make huge strides in that genre. It just needs to fix the things that other people have not fixed yet.
Yeah,
and it's going to be great. Yeah, that's all I'm expecting from that game. It's just a fixed version of Destiny, a fixed version of Monster Hunter, a fixed version of Borderlands, and it's good.
Yeah, really taking all those things and having this be that perfection of that style of game that's only been around for 5 years at this point. Going, okay, we now have seen Destiny try it. We've seen Ubisoft has some similar games with The Division try this.
Oh yeah.
Let's now take what works from this, and we can start our own thing. We can make our own thing, and we're going to take the things that work best and make this the best of those games. And that's where Anthem sits, I think, in a cool
ton of
spot.
Money in the process.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about.
Oh god, that's gonna be so full of so many goddamn loot boxes.
Oh yeah,
I'll love it. I just love it.
But I think that'll do it for E3. We will, of course, when it happens, talk about everything that came out, talk about these things that we just talked about more in realistic and actually true terms when we see these things. But we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever else you're listening, and we will see you later.
Bye.